How you doing tonight? Good. Thank you for coming out tonight. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Tim Pierce in 3 minutes, which is a pretty impossible thing to do. I met Tim somewhere around the end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s. Tim was putting guitars down for a songwriter named Mark Spiro, very talented guy. And I was working for Mark at the time, sort of a glorified gopher. I heard of Tim. I'd never met him. I really didn't know much about his playing. I remember Tim coming in one day to lay down guitars, and without ever having heard the tracks, just putting down the most sublime and beautiful guitar parts I'd ever heard. I thought, well, how good can this guy be? And it was just pretty mind-blowing. I was just kind of mesmerized watching him, and I could kind of understand, how and why this guy, would go on to play on literally thousands of records. I kept in contact with Tim, and I actually became his sort of de facto guitar tech, which meant I kind of put his guitar strings on, and even that I did pretty badly. I was always scared I was going to mess up, or the guitar was going to go out of tune. He was in the middle of a session, and I had to tell myself the big string on top and the small string on the bottom. I can remember once Tim was doing a session for Joe Cocker, and it must have been a live session. Most of the band was in this big room at one of the studios in Hollywood, and Tim was kind of sitting there, and somebody started a riff. And Tim kind of joined in and they were just jamming, just improvising. And Tim started playing these guitar lines, and I was just so blown away. I just could not believe that this guy was just coming up with this stuff off the top of his head. Later, Tim actually graciously agreed to play on some songs I had written with a buddy of mine, Jimmy Waldo. And I can remember Tim coming over and just doing something as simple as an acoustic rhythm guitar part was just unbelievable. Keith Richards once said, if you want to find out how good a guitar player is, put an acoustic guitar in his hand. Well, Tim Pierce played this acoustic guitar better than anybody I'd ever seen. Tim was playing a solo on one of the songs, and he goes through and he does a solo, and it's unbelievable. But it kind of missed a little bit for me. So without even singing one word to Tim, I just kind of looked at him, and he looked back at me, and he said something like, yeah, I need to outline the chords more. But whatever he said, it was so salient, and he just so got it, that his next pass was just this remarkable solo. And what blew me away, as much as his playing, was the fact that he brought all the passion and devotion into this session of mine, playing on this guy's song, this songwriter's song, as he would have brought into a Phil Collins session or a Bruce Springsteen session. That's what makes a guy special. That kind of devotion and passion is very rare. I don't want to keep rambling here. I could keep talking about the guy. What else can I tell you? That he has his own website, that he's played on thousands of records, that he can play anything you ask him to, that he's one of the sweetest and most generous people I've ever met. There's no one in the world more deserving of this honor than Tim Pierce. He is one of the best guitar players on the planet. I have met the best guitar players on the planet, and Tim Pierce stands proudly amongst them. So without further ado, my buddy, Tim Pierce.
Thanks, everybody. It's an honor to be here. And listening to some of these guys talk, like Matt Starr, I have to agree. It's being part of this community is about having your dreams come true. Grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, moved here in 1979, and slowly I got to work with people that I had seen on records as I was growing up. I remember my guitar teacher showed me a record by a band called The Section. He said, these guys, they're the real deal. And I'm looking, wow, that's amazing. And then, so in the 90s, I ended up working with Lee Sklar and Russ Kunkel and Jeff Porcaro and all these amazing musicians. And there's really no magic to it. You just move here, you just start showing up, you do a few things, you learn on the job, and then all of a sudden you're working with your idols, and it's really true. And not only are you working with your idols, but then you do get to know them, and they become your friends, some of them. And so it really is a community. I love living in California. I love knowing all these people. Patrick Leonard hired me for his solo band in about 1989, Toy Matinee, and that opened a ton of doors for me. Crowded House had me play on Don't Dream It's Over, and that opened a ton of doors. Bill Bottrell hired me to play on Michael Jackson's Black or White. That opened a ton of doors. I got to play on Phil Collins' You'll Be in My Heart, which he won the Academy Award for, and that led to a bunch of other work. So you do work with these people, and they would open doors for you. The Goo Goo Dolls, Iris, that was another one of my really lucky things I got to play on. So anyway, I'm really grateful. We're all still going strong. It was great to hear everybody play up here. I want to come back to this event and just sit in the audience every year because it's a very warm and real event. And I'm grateful to have this award and to know all of you. Thank you.